welcome you to the College Blueprint's Webinette series. Over the past 20 years, we've been helping thousands of students, and we visited over 650 college campuses. We've had a lot of experience and expertise on how to help you plan for and apply to college and have a good time doing it. But now we find ourselves in perhaps the most unique situation that many of us have ever experienced. We've spent a lot of time evaluating the current situation with the health crisis and its impact on you. And this evening, we're focusing specifically on juniors and seniors. So the purpose of our webinets is really to give you an opportunity to get some information you need right away in a quick, concise presentation. We have a lot to cover with you today, and we're going to move quickly. I founded the College Blueprint really to become a comprehensive college planning resource for students and families and schools. I'm a certified educational consultant and have taught counseling courses for UCSD, and I've been consulting with families and students in school districts for quite some time. Throughout our presentation today, we're going to be referencing various resources that we have found that we are going to make available to you. These will be sent to you with a recording of this webinette and will also be posted on our website. So don't worry about taking copious notes and writing furiously. We're going to be sending this information out to you by the end of the week. We will also be posting it in our media center on our website. We will try to save a few minutes at the end for questions. So any questions that you have, please enter them in the Q&A section on your screen. For those that we cannot get to tonight, we will certainly answer them and make those questions and answers available to you when we send out the recording and also on our website and our resources page. So be sure to check there frequently for additional information that we might be providing. Today, I'm going to be talking with the seniors to try to give you some good ideas on how you can make a good decision on your final college choice. We know it's such a unique situation where you haven't been able to visit colleges and actually see and feel them, to be able to talk to other students, to meet faculty members, etc. So I will be discussing that with you this evening. Juniors, we know testing information is changing rapidly and almost daily. Therefore, we want to assure that you have the most recent information, even as recent as of today. Cindy Tolles is our masterful testing and tutoring coordinator. She's been with us for 9 years, and she honestly always impresses me with her insight on testing, and we'll be able to provide juniors and sophomores, if we have any in our audience this evening, with the most current information on standardized testing. It is changing rapidly. So what I want to say to the seniors is, as you go through this process of evaluating your final college choice, be creative and be proactive. It's going to take some time for you to do this, and I'm going to walk you through a process that you might find helpful. But think about the amount of time you would have spent if you had had to travel to each college and visit their campus and spend a day or two there at their admitted students' day. Granted, there is no substitute for that experience, but the time that you can put in now is going to be time that pays off for you in the long run. This is a huge investment of money for your college education and a huge investment of time in your life. So as we go through this, talk with your teachers, talk with family members, counselors, talk to anyone who can provide insight to you on the colleges that you're interested in, and write down their impressions. You want to have reliable information and evidence to help you with this decision. Eventually, once you talk to enough people, do enough research, you're going to see some consistent themes appear. Some of the statistics that you should take a look at for each of your colleges that you are finally considering would be the 4-year graduation rate for the college, the 6-year graduation rate, and the retention rate. I'm going to review 10 things that you can and should do to help you make your final decision. And for today's discussion, at least, we're going to assume that your remaining colleges offer the majors that you think you are interested in. So we will move forward from there. When you're looking at your best fit college, you're really looking at a college that fits you academically, that fits you financially, and fits you socially. On our website, under our resources tab, you're going to find a chart that looks like this, that helps you compare colleges for their academic fit, their financial fit, and their social fit. Fill it in with your notes as you gather information. So this is your information gathering worksheet. Fill it in with your notes. Just make quick notes that make sense to you. This is for you and your family to use. No one is going to grade it. It's purely for you to use. Now, to get to the information so that you can do a good comparison of these colleges, we recommend you take some steps. And here are those 10 steps that we would recommend. First of all, attend virtual admitted student stays. You're going to find these posted on the college's admission webpage. It's a great way for you to perhaps hear from a panel of students, hear from some faculty members, see the campus, etc. Participate in everything the colleges are offering to students that are admitted to the campus. Number 2, social media. Start connecting with other admitted students. Join Facebook groups. Communicate with admission reps and their social media. If there's a recent graduates group, connect with them, ask them questions, keep track of all the information that you're gathering and all of the comments that you're hearing. Participate in these groups. It's a great way for you to get to know the types of people and the experiences that they had at that particular college. 3, talk or email with the admissions representatives. They want to talk with you. They know this is a difficult situation where you cannot get to the campus. Ask as many questions as you want to get the information that you need to make a good decision. Don't be shy. Ask if they will connect you with a current student. Ask them if they will connect you with a recent graduate. Reach out to these people, talk to them, ask about their experiences, and write down your impressions after talking with them. Take notes. Is there a common theme that's occurring here? Take virtual tours of the campus and watch the videos on the college's website. There are resource links listed on this particular slide in front of you that you can access, and we'll be sending these resources out to you. But these resources will give you the, quote, unbiased view and tour of the campus, whereas the one that's found on the college's website will be what the college wants you to see and hear. So go beyond what they're making available to you. Maybe you haven't had a chance to visit the community, the town, the college at any point. Use Google Maps to view the campus layout. Zoom in on some specific buildings. View the area surrounding the college. What is that area like? What is the college town like? Is there a college town? There may not even be one. Is it in a city? Where is it in the city? Go to the Chamber of Commerce website or the college or the town's tourism websites. See what they have to say about the community within which the college is located. It's going to give you a better sense of how enriching that entire environment is surrounding the university or the college. This next suggestion I love because I enjoy doing it myself. Watch YouTube student-produced videos. Google YouTube for the particular colleges. Watch these YouTubes. You're going to get a sense of the students' personalities. What do they think is fun versus what you think is fun? How do they spend their time? Is it what you would like to be doing if you were on a college campus? You're going to get a very different view of the college through these YouTube videos. And you're going to get a perspective that might be different than what the admission office wants to show you in their official videos. If you have a learning difference, attention deficit, autism spectrum disorder, contact disability services, or their learning support center, find out how they are going to be able to help you. See if they're able to give you the accommodations that you have received in high school. Will you be able to get them when you're on the college campus, and what do you need to do to assure that you can receive them. Find out what documentation they require and make sure you have that ready for them. If you go onto their webpage for Disability Services Center, they will typically specifically spell out for you the individual things that you have to provide in order to be able to gain accommodations on their particular campus. So be sure to do that. Contact faculty in the department that you intend to major. They want to talk to you. So again, don't be shy, be proactive and be creative. Ask them about the curriculum. Is it more of a Socratic discussion type classroom? Is it more of a lecture style? Are these styles going to fit with your particular learning style? How accessible are professors? What kind of research opportunities are there? Are there opportunities to be involved with consulting projects that professors have? If you don't already know, ask who teaches the majority of the classes. Professors, teaching assistants who can just be upperclassmen, or graduate students. How is this going to fit with how you prefer to learn? Go to the Career Center website. Learn and evaluate how they can help you with getting internships while you were in college. How can they help you with job placement after you graduate? What is their track record in the major or the majors that you're considering? What companies and organizations recruit on campus? Are these organizations or corporations or companies that are of interest to you, at least as far as you know at this point? Dig, look for the information, and write it down. Financial aid. If you received a financial aid package or a scholarship, make sure you understand the document that you received. Understand the fine print in there. If your family situation has changed since you filed your financial aid application, let them know. It's not unusual, particularly given what has happened in the country in the last 2 months, that people's income levels have changed. And financial aid departments know this. They know what happens, and they expect you to reach out to them. Just over the weekend, I was talking with the Associate Dean of Financial Aid at the University of Southern California. And I was asking her what advice she would provide. And she said, give us the facts. Don't provide a lot of fluff in this appeal or this contact with us. Just give us the facts and give us the documents. They will have a procedure that they follow for appeals on financial aid. So again, don't be shy. They know situations change, and they know with COVID-19, everything is changing. So they will expect there are going to be appeals to the original financial aid package. Keep in mind that money is fluid at the college. As one student turns down a college, more money might free up and become available, which could be money that gets allocated to you. There's a website that she also referred me to, which I think is excellent. I want to pass it on to you. It's the Paying for College website. And you'll see the link at the bottom of this slide. Again, we'll include this in our resources page. But this will give you a way to compare the various offers that you might have from colleges. So that you can see what you're going to be left to pay, what's your out-of-pocket expense. And then it also has what are you likely to be left with after graduation. So it's a good way to get a sense of comparing the benefits of one financial aid offer versus another. If you don't understand it, call the financial aid office and ask them to please explain to you what they've included. Okay, so now we're going to move quickly to the juniors. Because testing is changing every day, we did not prepare a whole lot of slides, but we have a few here because there are a lot of dates that are involved with all of these changes that are going on. So I'm going to do a bit of a Q&A with our testing coordinator, but we're also going to have some of this information available to you on the slides. Cindy, Good evening.
Yes, good evening. Welcome, everybody.
So Cindy, quickly, because we want to get the juniors and sophomores if you're in our audience, we want to get information to you as quickly as possible. And there's so many changes taking place right now, in large part because of the COVID-19 public health crisis. Can you tell us in general what's been happening and what is ahead for us?
Yes, we know the College Board and the ACT are making changes almost weekly, and that's very hard on everybody. So I'll be happy to give you the most recent updates that I know of from both the College Board and the ACT Inc. Just last week, the College Board announced it has canceled the June 6th SAT and subject test due to COVID-19. So as of now, the next planned SAT is August 29th. And they've also added or will add a new September SAT test date, and they'll announce that exact date soon. They also do have SAT exams planned on October 3rd, November 7th, and December 5th. So that means there is an SAT test from August on through the end of every month through the end of the year, assuming it's safe from a public health standpoint. So the other thing I would say is that the College Board is working to add test centers, so every student who wants to take an SAT this fall can do that. And in the event that, let's hope not, but that some or all schools don't reopen this fall because we can't have group settings, the College Board is developing a digital SAT for at-home use, at-home online.
Okay, these are some significant changes that we've never seen before. So if students want to register for these fall tests, when can they do that?
Students can start registering for these fall tests in May. And in fact, people who registered for the June SAT will actually have early access to registration. So they'll receive an email from the College Board, and they'll be able to transfer their registration to a fall SAT free of charge. Or if they want to, they could get a refund also. They'll just have to connect with customer service. We also know that students in the high school class of 2021, so current juniors who have not yet taken an official SAT, that will also have access to that early registration. And I want you to know that you can and should check for updated information and those May registration dates on the College Board website. I really always point people to that because the changes are happening so quickly. So that's www.collegeboard.org, and the COVID-19 updates are on that homepage.
Okay, great. So that's some good information about the SAT. What about the ACT?
As of now, this very minute today, the ACT still plans to administer the June 13th test as, you know, in the group setting as normal, and they have a July 18th ACT planned. So the July test is offered everywhere except New York. It always has been. So that's not anything to do with the COVID-19 situation. They just don't offer that test in New York. In addition, if needed in certain regions or even across the whole US because of the crisis, ACT says it will offer a makeup test on June 20th in some of its centers, and or a makeup test on July 25th if needed. So ACT is going to work with individual test centers on that situation, and any affected students will be notified in advance of a date change.
Okay, so students need to watch out for that notification. That's
right.
Important. Okay, so what's your recommendation as to what students should do if the June and the July ACT exams are canceled?
Well, the ACT already does have 3 traditional in-person exams planned this fall on the dates on your screen: September 12th, October 24th, and December 12th. So they are ready for you this fall, assuming again that it's safe to gather and test. And they have a few other changes happening starting in September that I'll tell you about. Students can actually choose to take the ACT online at some testing centers instead of with a pencil and paper. So that's new. And if you do that, you'll get your results a little faster. Also, for students who've already been able to take a full official ACT at least once, the company is going to allow section retesting starting in September. So if you took the test in February, you did really well on every section except, say, science, then you could sign up in September or October to take just the science section, or let's say just the science and essay sections. And then ACT will provide your colleges, you and your colleges, with a super score report that lists your best section scores from your different test administrations. So that's brand new.
That's huge. This is a huge change in testing. And I think students are going to be thrilled that they can just retake specific sections of the ACT and not having to take the entire test each time. So what's going on with remote online testing? How is that working?
Just like the College Board, ACT is really preparing to introduce a testing option that'll allow students to take the ACT at home on a computer if necessary. So nobody wants that to happen. We all want the traditional testing to go on as planned, but it might. And again, I really recommend going to act.org because they also have these coronavirus updates right on the home page. And that's where I find my information, a lot of it. So I direct you to that after this presentation because things could change even next week with those June tests, June and July.
Okay, great. Well, I know that a lot of colleges are announcing going test optional. Can you spend a few minutes talking with us about what that really means?
Sure. Even before the coronavirus hit, a number of colleges across the US were already what we would call test optional. Now there are a few different, they're test flexible, there's a few different categories, but the most common one is called test optional. And that means those schools do not require applicants to take those two tests, the SAT or the ACT, or to submit scores from them, but they will consider your scores if you send them. So many rising seniors, those of you who are with us tonight, you haven't been able to take the SAT even once maybe, or the ACT. And so the colleges are very well aware of that. They are trying to make the best of a difficult situation. They know you don't have control over these things, and they are changing admission policies, at least temporarily, so that you don't have to submit scores to many schools now, not all, of course. And that means, what'll that mean? Well, they'll just have to review all of the other elements of your application, like GPA, the rigor of your courses, your essays for the schools that you will write essays for, your leadership in many, many areas of your life, and your activities. Those things will carry more weight, but they will be looking at, what have you been doing during this time too? During this time when you have downtime, you can't do the things you expected to do this summer. So we have a list here of schools that may be just test optional this year for the first time, like University of California System, Cal State, University of Oregon, Boston University. You can read the list. But there are schools like GW, George Washington, that have been test optional since about 2015. And I was just listening to their rep today, and she said, they've had 35% of their applicants have been test optional since then, and that number's just going to grow. So they really want to help you out and make this process less frustrating, less scary for you.
Good. So how does a student find out what else they might need to submit if it's a test optional school?
Well, we do tell everyone that every single college has its own application requirements and deadlines and testing requirements. So you do need to look on each school's website to find that information. It's important to check every school's requirements. So I am unfortunate. There's a place called fairtest.org that'll tell you which schools are test optional. But again, even then, to find the specifics, you need to go to the websites for each school.
Okay. So if I were a student, I'd be wondering, well, should I bother to take these tests? If so many schools are going test optional, why should I do that?
Well, we tell students that if even one of the colleges you're applying to will require test scores, or if even one scholarship you're applying to for requires test scores, you should take the SAT or the ACT at least once if you can. Also, if you're a good test taker and you think scores will enhance your application profile, that's another good reason to take the SAT or ACT. And then standardized tests truly are a standard. They're a single standard by which colleges can measure students. So a certain class rank or GPA at one small high school might not mean the same thing at another high school with 3,000 or 4,000 students. So standardized tests do give admissions officers a way to judge your academic preparedness for their school and your ability to handle the academic rigor there.
Those are really good points. Really good points. Okay, we only have a minute or two left. Can you address AP testing quickly? And do you have any tips for students? Could you go over those with us?
Yes, I can give a few tips. I know these tests are starting soon, and I'm sure students who are taking AP classes are already reviewing. The biggest thing I can say is be prepared. So know where you're going to take your tests. What device are you taking them on? Get your notes together, your textbook, your calculator. Make sure you're in a quiet place. Make sure you have a fresh battery for that calculator. Get your materials together. Like I said, decide on the best place to take your test. And then check College Board for AP resources. They really do have a lot of resources, more than ever, because they have had to. They've had to use online resources. There's a YouTube channel now for course review sessions. So check that out. Teachers are providing review sessions, or you may need a one-on-one tutoring situation. You may need to take your review packet and go over it with a tutor for 2 or 3 hours. So obviously review. Now, these tests are essays, or they're questions that require critical thinking skills. So practice, I would say practice. When you're answering the questions, give yourself the 15 or 20 or 25 minutes that you will be allowed on the test. Practice just like you will be on test, you'll be doing on test day. We also suggest you condense your notes if possible. Writing them over again can actually be useful and can help you remember things. It can also help you put them all in one place so they're much easier to access when you're taking the tests. Obviously, write neatly if possible. And figure out what the best way for you is to access the information. Maybe it's bullet points, maybe it's a Q&A, whatever format you prefer. Everyone will need to log in 30 minutes before each exam on test day to make sure you can access the platform. And if you know you cannot take the test on the May date when it's regularly scheduled, check with your AP coordinator, because that's what the makeup test dates are for in June.
Okay. Cindy, we're getting some questions here about the test security, AP test security, because it's being done at home. Can you share any insight on that to everyone?
Yes, there's a lot of concern about that. The College Board is saying, so many banks and other institutions have to worry about security. The LSAT, all these, the GRE, those are 2 tests that are already doing at-home testing. And the College Board is saying, if they can do that, we can too. And they're talking to major institutions about security. They're saying that they're using plagiarism software. They've developed security tools and techniques to prevent and detect cheating. They are asking students to verify their identity, pardon me, and confirm the work that they've submitted as their own. They're going to submit your responses to your AP teacher. So she or he will be able to see your work and compare it to the work you have submitted throughout the rest of the year. So that teacher will be asked to see if they can spot inconsistencies. Also, the exam format and questions are truly being designed for at-home administration. So even if you tried to look online on Google or Reddit or whatever, you aren't going to get points for content that can be found online or in your textbook. And everyone across the world will be taking the test at the same time. So even some countries will be taking it at night, but just so that they're at the same time.
Okay, I mean, it's good to know that they're addressing this issue and taking it seriously, because I think students want to know, hey, if I'm going to put in the effort for this, I want to make sure that I'm being protected as well, and that someone else is not going to get a higher score because they cheated on the test. So it's a really important issue.
Yes.
Cindy, thank you so much. We could go on and on about testing, and perhaps we will schedule a follow-up webinar on this in another month or so, depending on what types of information and changes come about as we proceed through the next 4 to 8 weeks with this health crisis. I want to open it up for questions. We just have a couple minutes. Analia, do we have any questions?
Hi, Jan. Yes, actually, we do have a question. We have 2 questions. Hopefully, we have time to answer. One is, can we schedule for the August SAT now?
So registration is not open yet for the August SAT, but it should be soon. And we can, if you want to give us your email address, we could email you when the registrations opens, but not yet, unfortunately. I'm looking right now, and all they have is the date of the test. And in fact, it was just published like last week. It was just confirmed. Okay. So May is when we're saying registration will be open, but the question is what day, what week, we don't know, unfortunately.
Okay, and then we have a great question here. This person has a junior who was able to take the SAT test in June, but she didn't perform as well as expected. If she's applying to test optional schools, will those schools automatically receive her test scores with her application, or does she have to submit them? Either way, would it make sense for her to keep studying and retake it in the fall?
I absolutely would say keep studying and retake it in the fall to answer that part of the question. If she can, if that doesn't get in the way of other things she's doing, we recommend taking the test at least a couple of times if she thinks she can improve her score. Will her schools automatically get her scores? No. Jan, you can weigh in on this, but generally speaking, you choose which scores you send your schools. They have the SAT, the College Board has what they call score choice, and you select which scores you send to which schools. Now, the only exception to that would be if your school, a particular school requires that you send all scores, and then you would need to do that.
Exactly. You are in control of releasing those scores. So College Board or ACT will not automatically send your scores out. You have to actually go into the website and tell them where you want those scores sent. So that's one side of it. The other side is each college has its own policy. There are a few colleges in the country that require all of your test scores to be sent, but those are very, very few colleges. A couple others will recommend that you send all the scores, but it's just a recommendation. And then other schools just say, send us what you want us to see. So it really depends on each college, but you're in control. They're not going to get a score until you actually release them from the College Board or ACT.
Right. Yes.
Annalee, anything else?
We have
One more.
quite a few more, Jan. So maybe we could do a follow-up with the information that you're going to be sending out after the webinar.
Okay. Sure, absolutely. No, as I mentioned earlier, we're going to send out a recording of this webinar, a webinette. We will send you a list of all of our resources that we've referenced in our presentation, and we'll send a follow-up to the questions. So we really want to get your questions answered. We know this is a difficult situation, and information is changing daily. We're all challenged by it, and we all have to deal with it. We're all in it together. So we've put these webinars together so that you can get quick, concise, and timely information that's going to help you as you're trying to navigate your college pathway while all these changes are taking place. So I would encourage you to take a look at our schedule. Join us for these webinars. We'll be doing them on Wednesday evenings, and we'd love to have you attend for the ones that are pertinent to you. I think that just kind of my closing comment would be that colleges are affected by this too. They're going through significant changes, and they need students, and they want students, and they're unsure right now how all of this is going to affect their ability to fill their next freshman classes. So continue to move forward in this planning process for your college career. And just know that we are all here to help you. So thank you for joining us this evening.
Yes, thank you very much. This was fun.
Thank you.
Good luck to everybody.